Didn't it?
It's sort of like the sex on Game of Thrones. Have you noticed? I mean, every so often Game of Thrones, they just throw in like a random sex thing. I like Game of Thrones, but they just sort of throw it in exactly for your reasons. Like, okay, we'll go along. Okay, we need some nudity.
There's a quota they have to fill.
Yeah, it's absurd. Yeah, it's absurd.
You youngins.
Thank you.
Right back over here.
Tony, first of all, I'd like to say that you as a character truly, you know, inspired a lot of people that I know in the way that you stood, and the way that you represented, and we really appreciate that. Thank you so much for your contribution. My next question, very quick, is Richard. On Stargate...
Wait, you didn't ask me a question. That was just more of a commentary.
Yeah, well,
But it was a good comment.
It was a good, there you go. Thumbs up.
Don't you want to ask him a question?
May I ask you a question, Richard? How about that?
What?
On Stargate Atlantis, whenever you had to go underwater and swim, you know, 3 or 4 times to open the gate, how was that for you, or how was that experience for you?
Oh, I was left breathless. No, I honestly didn't mean to say that. Well, no, it was no problem. I grew up in Minnesota that has 10,000 lakes. I'm a trained scuba diver. Thank you very much. Millions are, by the way. So that was actually kind of fun to do because it was a little different. The fun part about that sequence, about going underwater and swimming around and looking around, trying to solve the problem, whatever it was at the time, was that if you notice closely, never get this out. My guy, what's his name? Jack. Jack MacGyver would swim like this and get through the holes and go further and further each time. And finally, he comes up against this, there's a solution or some part of how he's going to get us all out of here. And so he goes like this, or goes like smiles, goes, all right, or something really, oh yeah. I mean, think about being underwater and holding your breath and trying to survive that. Are you going to like make gestures and go, all right, you betcha. It's just like, that's more commentary on, well, my acting. I was going to say acting. It's like, if you're watching, you'll notice this now, from now on until you die, that if on television or in a movie somebody answers the phone and then somebody hangs up and there's really, they look at the phone afterwards. Notice this. Hello? Yeah. Really? You're kidding me. What? Wait, don't. Damn. But it's true. I mean, it's one of those things about acting that I just, or watching acting that I love.
Did you ever notice in television too that the star of the show always has a parking space ready for them in front of the building they're going to? Yeah. Remember Goldman? I think Adventures in the Skin Trade or something. There was Goldman when he had rules that happened in television films. Like there's always a parking space for the star. They always had the exact change. I mean, phones was another phone was one too. You know, it's always
Yeah, the parking spot in New York, right?
Yeah.
Screech! Oh, there's a parking spot. Didn't need it, but I took it.
Through the production of MacGyver, was there, I mean, there are obviously the tropes here. There's the hair, there's the flannel, there's the unconventional ways to solve problems. But when you were in production for the show, was there one trope where if you were reading the script through, it's like, oh, I got this, oh, I've got this again? So was there a recurring theme that the writers would throw at you that might have been an inside joke to you and the crew and then the writing team?
Actually, it just occurred to me that there is one, because I've been asked that before and could never think if there was or not. It always seemed like we were, you know, kind of faking our way through it. But the, normally, if MacGyver had to open a door, a locked door, he'd take out a Swiss Army knife and it would work. I dare anyone to try and do it. It's impossible. But, writer, take takes out his knife and opens the door. Boom. Lazy bastards. And those are the later years too, where they just, oh, we're so tired of him being so clever. Let him be human. Residual.
Right over here.
Oh, hi. Yes. I have a question about the 200th episode. Hi. Yeah.
Wait, like we can see you? Is that what you were actually thinking?
Well, you don't have to look at me. I'm supposed to get it right.
I'm not gonna feel bad.
That wasn't the intent.
I can't see you, and I'd much rather look at myself.
So would many others. All right. So the question: the 200th episode was fantastic. Did you have a lot of fun poking at all the nuances of Stargate in that episode?
I wasn't in it.
You did that scene where you
I
were
was?
invisible. Yeah, you came on set and they put you in that invisible suit and you shot that scene. The wedding with Amanda Tapping was also in the 200th episode.
Oh, is that,
Yeah.
you're talking about the scene where we hired a guy to put on a green screen suit, an all green suit, and just walk down the hallway with
The cup.
somebody, with a cup in there.
No, I'm talking about the scene where you were next to Michael.
Wait, let me finish.
Okay, sorry.
And so they could have used anybody in the green suit, but I showed up and kind of wanted to do it, so I actually got in the green suit and walked on, and it could have been anybody, because they had to voice me anyway, voice it anyway. Not particularly interesting. You're right, you should have kept talking. Sorry. What's the other part?
Oh, yeah.
You're not done.
Okay, sure. So, there's another scene in the episode. You're next to Michael and you're getting married, in quotes, to Amanda Tapping. Did you have a lot of fun, like, poking fun all the fans? You're like,
Slow down, slow down.
okay.
I'm old. You're young.
Okay. So, the scene where you're next to Michael and you were getting, quote, married to Amanda Tapping because all the fans wanted you guys to get together. Did you have kind of fun poking at that relationship a bit?
With Michael?
No, you covered that. The one with Amanda.
Oh, yes, Amanda, right.
Yeah.
Actually, was it staged, so I was actually standing next to Michael and Amanda?
Yeah. Just the huge
That's funny.
I wasn't there, but you were, so I thought you could answer it.
Well, I had fun with most stuff that I did on the show. I got to kiss Amanda a whole bunch one day. Kisses. Go on.
Okay. Thank you very much. We have time for 2 more questions. Hi.
I have forever.
Hi, Richard. My kids have a question and I have a question, so you can answer both or one depending on your mood.
Well, thank you.
See, I have the hard question and they have the easy question. You want the hard question first or the easy question?
No, easy.
Okay, they want to know what was one of your favorite Stargate SG-1 episodes to film and why?
Give me the heart.
The hard question is, I have personally wondered this for many years. Why did you leave the series when you did? What led you to make that decision?
Which series?
Stargate.
Stargate?
Yeah.
Well, it's a little bit of a personal, it's not so much private anymore because I've talked about it, but at the time, well, I was, during the time that I was shooting up there in Vancouver, I lived in California, Los Angeles area, and my girlfriend and I had a baby. I mean, she had a baby. Well, yeah. Well, you know how it works, right? Kids. Anyway, we had a kid up there, and who's turned out wonderfully, by the way.
Good deal.
But it became the mom and I didn't get along eventually. It just, we were just opposite ends of the solar system. And so she got rather annoyed with me, go figure, right? And she moved down to California while I was working in Vancouver, and it became increasingly more difficult for me to deal with because it's my one and only child, and it's new to me, and you know, all those emotional things that get attached to having a kid. And so I decided after 8 years on the show that I couldn't allow my daughter to grow up without my influence in her life, like right now. So it's not funny, but it's true. And she and I have a great relationship now, I think in part because of that. Although, he kept talking, she's come up to me in the last couple of years, and she's so mature, I mean, for being an immature kid. She came up to me and put her arm on me, and she said, "Dad, you know, I'm all right now. You can go back to work if you want." What kind of a kid is that? How perceptive. No, I mean, she's just phenomenal.
Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
And right over here.
I got one for Tony and one for Richard. Tony, what was probably the most defining moment on the series that you played as Breakback that you just looked at it and said, this defines the character? And then Jack, what was the funnest part about filming probably one of the best episodes of Stargate, Window of Opportunity?
You know, I'm going to twist the question a little bit and answer when I felt at home on Stargate. And, you know, because you come up as recurring, and initially the first episode is the hardest because these guys have been working really, really hard, and they tend to front load your workload because they've just gotten the last script. And so, but in the second episode I did, it was quite a funny thing. We were put in a glider together at the end of the episode. I don't know if you remember this, but you know, and they sent us up about 15, 20 feet. And of course they said, it'll only be 45 minutes. You know, and of course it was, you know, about 2 hours or something. But my favorite thing was, you know, what do you do for 2 hours? You know, you just sort of, but we, I don't know if you remember this, we started singing show tunes. And you were very partial to Man of La Mancha. I mean, not well. Don't get me wrong. We didn't sing them well.
Not well. Yes, I did like Man of La Mancha.
Yeah, we were very, and so that was really a treat to be sort of locked in a glider. But
The farts didn't bother you?
yes.
I didn't realize Christopher was in the glider.
Yeah, thank God. Well, you know, it's really weird because they put, you know, they get a little automatic sort of, you know, wrench, you know. They said really it'd only be 45 minutes. You know, putting this plexiglass thing. But you know, it somehow made sense, the whole thing. I felt at ease. You know what it was too? Ringo Ted was the first guy who directed he directed the pilot, and then he directed the episode, my first episode. His name was Mario Azzopardi. He was a big Maltese guy. And, you know, again, you go up and you're looking for your character. You know, you've auditioned, and now you're reaching, okay, they've dressed me this way. Oh, I get it. I can play this. They've dressed me. Okay, the script says this. And then I see Mario. You know, Mario is this big Maltese guy. And so I would watch him on set, and I actually stole a lot of breaks at Mario Azzopardi, the way he moved. And, you know, his gruffness, a very sweet guy, but very gruff. At the same time, no, don't do that. This way, bigger, you know. It was, oh, I see. And so I actually stole some great tag from him, and I haven't seen him in all these years, and I'll own up to it because you know I've gotten a good ride out of it. But
I thought he was a dick.
He was, but so his great tag can be a little bit of a dick, I think, you know. In a nice way.
And then, what was the episode?
The second question was for Richard. It was, what was the funnest thing about filming the Window of Opportunity episode with Christopher Judge? When you guys get stuck in
Remind me what that was.
you guys get stuck in that time loop, like Groundhog Day.
Oh, all right, kissing a mat is what I remember. Well, there's a sequence during that, I think. Didn't we, like, tee off into the Stargate? Yeah, that was a fun bit. And then I don't know if we followed through and did it, but I had suggested on the day that, we both, tee off into the wormhole, and then some other episode later, or in the same episode, the golf ball comes out in a different time period altogether. And we try to get a measurement on it to see who's away.
Thank you.
You're not a golfer, are you?
I do. Can I get a ruling on that? Man of La Mancha, was it The Impossible Dream? Were you guys singing The Impossible Dream?
No, there's some things you just don't talk about.
These people, I would like to have heard of what that might have sounded like, the two of you singing in that.
There was a song, though. There was a song, because I thought we should have a song. And I actually came up with a song, probably some of you have heard, and it goes, you ain't nothing but a Trekkie, rockin' all the time. You ain't nothing but a Trekkie, rockin' all the time. But if you ain't seen Stargate, you ain't no friend of mine.